Women in Love is a movie that runs hot and cold with me. So let's begin with the cold. I've never read the book, and I'm not really a fan of Ken Russell, who always seemed more interested in style over substance. In that, Women in Love is oddly balanced, and there are times when I'm not exactly sure what the director is trying to do. But I am forced to set all that aside because its rewards outweigh its pains. This is a bizarre movie, oddly made, oddly funny, and oddly moving. To weigh its virtues and its inequities would take a day and a half, so I'll save you the time and trouble and just say, despite its massive flaws, I kinda love its rough-hewn nature. It tickles me a bit. It tickled a lot of people when it came out in 1969. The buzz started by circling around a soft-lit nude wrestling match between male leads Oliver Reed and Alan Bates. Yet, when the movie was released, the central focus turned to the performance of a 33-year-old stage actress billed third in the credits, named Glenda Jackson. There was something about her. She had a spark that was refreshing because it didn't seem smug. She was open. She was self-assured. She was oddly charming. She had a punchiness that seemed wonderfully new. And she charmed the Academy, winning the Oscar for Best Actress at a moment when the American public didn't know who she was. At that point, she was a respected member of the Royal Shakespeare Company and a regular face on British television, but she had never made a movie before. Jackson would win 2 Oscars for Best Actress within 4 years, neither of which she showed up to accept. Her second Oscar came for her role as a divorced mother involved in an extramarital affair with George Segal in Melvin Frank's A Touch of Class. Personally, I never liked that movie because I think Jackson was a mismatch with Segal. His role was initially offered to Cary Grant, and I'd like to imagine that that would have been a much better pairing. Jackson didn't think much of the Oscar. Winning the first, she said she would give it to her mother. Years later, she dismissed it by saying, "My mother polishes them within an inch of their lives, until the metal shows." That sums up the Academy Award. All glitter on the outside and base metal coming through. Nice presents for a day, but they don't make you any better. The award may have been more glitter than gold, but her performance certainly was not. In the movie, she plays the unfortunately named Gudrun Brangwyn, a young woman living with her sister Ursula in the small mining community of Beldover, and the two spend their days discussing the promises and qualities of love. Watching the wedding of a naval officer, their eyes lock on 2 good-looking chaps in the wedding party. Ursula spots the freewheeling Rupert Birkin, played by Alan Bates, while Gudrun focuses on the stiff but handsome Gerald Critch, played by Oliver Reed. Soon they're locked in passionate love affairs with their respective men, but their personalities bring about different results. Gerald loves Gudrun's fiery passion, but she admits that he really doesn't know how to love her. He's full of anger and frustration and doesn't really understand her, nor does he really try to. Gudrun is a woman with a personality and intelligence whose sexuality is surprisingly frank, but she's also sexually liberated in the head. Not content to just be taken, she wants to be made love to, mentally as well as physically. She's very smart, and her mind is open where Gerald's is not. She penetrates right to his inner weakness. He can't give her a proper kind of passionate love. He may be out of his league, too. There are minor indications that Gerald is privately in love with Rupert. What happens, I'll leave for you to discover. I'll just say I was genuinely surprised. Glenda Jackson was not classically beautiful. She had a bony face, an odd-shaped mouth, and large teeth. And I think that works in her favor because she looks like a real person rather than a polished beauty queen. She's that rare actress who's always in the moment. When she isn't speaking, she's listening, and she embodies a role with her whole being. She's also the best thing about Women in Love, and she helps get through some of Director Russell's confusing experimental touches. Not content to just tell a story, he plays with weird visual styles, as in several sex scenes involving Ursula and Rupert, one of which he films sideways, and the other he intercuts with the discovery of the dead bodies of a couple who have just drowned. The film also has a deadening pace, and possibly for these reasons, Women in Love is more or less forgotten today. It isn't a bad film, but were it not for the performances, especially by Jackson, and of course the Oscar, it would have completely faded into obscurity. Glenda Jackson was indicative of a new kind of woman emerging in the 1970s, called upon largely by the women's movement. A great many actresses would find a new kind of voice in film. That's especially true if you look carefully at the women who won the Oscar as Best Actress in the decade. You'll find that nearly all of them, Glenda Jackson, Jane Fonda, Liza Minnelli, Ellen Burstyn, Faye Dunaway, and Sally Field, played women either struggling to find their own voice or who were expressing themselves intellectually and sexually. None did a better job, though, than Jackson, who managed to play a character who's intelligent, liberated, but doesn't keep us at arm's length. She played a new kind of character, one whose life goal isn't to land in the arms of a man because she has to, but simply because she wants to. For Armchair Cinema, I'm Jerry Dean Roberts. I'll see you next week.